Hello everyone, today is a big day. I am releasing a product. It is the RC Underdog Workstand. Now, I'm going to go through a lot in this video. I'll go through the history, I'll go through features, I'll go through a build process because I have parts on the bench to put this together to get to a point of what you see right here. Just a little backstory. I have been working on this stand for at least 5 years. This being the first prototype, which is kind of funny because prototypes aren't usually first made in metal. But me and a buddy threw this together in an afternoon at his metalworking shop back home in Texas. And it was an idea I had rolling around in my head, and I saw scrap pieces of aluminum, and he helped me put this together, and it was a good proof of concept. And it worked reasonably well to hold a truck, but it wasn't 100%. And over the years, I've gone through many different iterations. The first one was basically transferring this design straight into CAD with this fully attached to this. I don't think I initially put the adjustable legs on it immediately, but this was where it started. And then we fast forward all the way to today, where I have a pretty refined system here. Now, I will state first and foremost that you will need some things to complete this fully, and we will go through that in the build process. But what you have here is the RC Underdog Workstand. It is adjustable not only in wheelbase but also in axle width. I don't think this current configuration holds the wheelbase of a Tamiya, but it holds the width of a Tamiya all the way up to the width of an AR-60. And there's even a little bit more in there where you can put a rift axle on this stand. Now, some curious viewers in the comments are curious about what this is. I don't fully have one put together, so this won't be super illustrative, but let's say you are working on an H10 optic or a rift or any caged buggy, and you want to take the cage off to work on the transmission. Well, you can take the 6 screws out of the optic cage and take the cage off, and this part here supports your skid and helps hold all your geometry in place at ride height. And this out front here is just a parts tray I've designed. We will get a little further into that at the build series. And last but not least, something that I added in that I forgot to put on the table is a swivel mechanism into the bottom to easily pivot this around your desk. I'm going to go over some printing tips. Let us get the first trouble spot opened up, and that would be the adjustable leg file. This is the way it was designed and came out of Fusion. So here in Bamboo Studio, I go up here to lay flat on face, pick this one at the back, not the open part at the front. Click the opposite end and have it stand up like that. It semi takes up less space, but also it is the best orientation I personally have found to print this part at. So you then come over here to support, go up here, enable it. Normal supports are what you want in a snug style, because not only will that support this cantilevered part right here, it will also give you supports within this channel but leave the inside hollow. It's the best way I can explain it because it's the best orientation I have found over the years to print this troublesome part. Next troublesome part that is hard to print is this skid support. Like a dummy in Fusion, I designed these on the same file, but I don't really have any issue. I will come up to the cut, come up to Y and rotate that 90 degrees, and then take this yellow box, move that where they're both two separate colors, perform cut. Now that they are two separate pieces, lay flat on face, stand that straight up so it takes up less space. And this is just like the adjustable leg. It needs the normal and snug supports to fill in this channel so the inside can be printed hollow. Everything else, such as the left leg, the stand center, and things like that, can be printed flat. I would say that the center rod can be printed straight up and down like that, but make sure you have your brim and skirt and all those settings dialed to print something like that. Otherwise, I have done it, but it is not pretty. You can lay it down. It will just leave a little residue of the support or skirt or whatever that contacts the bed on like one teeny tiny point. If you're not bothered by that, then go ahead and lay these down when you print these. In my honest opinion, I would recommend doing that anyway because your layer lines are flat, not vertical, and it gives you, I guess you could say, more rigidity in these center rods. I hope these tips and tricks for setting these up in the slicer help. Without further ado, let's get into the build series. I want to first start with the rods. I have pivoted to using 1/2-inch wooden dowels. If you want a finished look at this, it's going to look like that. But if not, as you have seen on the yellow stand, if you do not want to purchase wooden dowels off of Amazon, there will be an included file for a center rod, I believe is what I named that file. So first thing I'm going to do is I have this 12-inch dowel marked at 10 inches. My recommendation is keep the cut in between 9 and 10 inches. It's just the best measurement I have found going through the years of building and designing this. I cut these at 10 because I like to build longer and bigger things most times. If you have a lot of Tamiyas, you can cut it at 9 inches or maybe even 8.5. I haven't tried that, but my comfort zone is 10. I will then take the left leg and put the cut end in there. You clean it up how you like. I put the cut end in there because my bandsaw cuts it ugly, and this hides that. So now, with it in there, you can take a drill and a bit. I am personally using a 7/64 and make a pilot hole. I will then take some number 8 drywall screws that I've bought in bulk and run it home. Now, if you do not want to do it in this method, the printed center rods are held in by M3 screws. I believe the measurement on these are 14 millimeters. So now we can take both of these and slide them into the stand center. One thing I forgot, just of note, is the bottom of the stand center takes I believe this is a 11 by 15 by 4 bearing. This is what is commonly used in the inside of steering knuckles. So if you have one of these laying around, this is what is used for the swivel. Okay, next step, I will slide on the adjustable legs, one on each side. Don't worry, these are not directional, so you can put either one on either side. Does not matter. Next, before we get too far, roll this up on its side. Take your center part for your skid support, slot it in, and take a 12 or 14 millimeter screw and screw it in to the underside of the skid center. You can then set that on top. Okay, now most are starting to see these are just free spinning. So what you can do, take some 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch carriage bolts and put them in the holes. You can then get 1/4 inch wing nuts and 1/4 inch washers to build the locking mechanism. And I just realized on camera I built it backwards. I personally like to have the wing nuts on the outside for ease of use. And the reason I use wing nuts and carriage bolts, number one, a carriage bolt has this little square side on the very end here, near the head of it, that slots into the channels that I have. So that kind of helps keys it in. And also the washers help press against to help lock everything in at the width you want to set it at. And then just finish up putting the washers and wing nuts where they go. We will take two M3 by 18 screws, and I personally like using an MIP ball tip driver. Start them into the parts tray and then screw them in to the corresponding holes on the skid center. The reason they are 18 millimeters long is because this is also going to screw into the wooden dowel or 3D printed rod to hold your wheelbase width or length, to hold your wheelbase length. The holes I made for these accessories go all the way through the stand center, so it doesn't have to be just this one side that you put these screws into. You can rotate it around and get the 18 millimeter screw on the opposite side as well. If you want, you can also print 2 of these parts trays and put one at the back as well, just to hold that in if you don't want just screws on this rear end. And that lets it be held in place. So that is a fully completed RC Underdog Workstand. Over the years, I have put a ton of passion, blood, sweat, and tears into this product, and I am finally at a point I am proud enough of it to release it to all of you guys as files. I believe there will be some interest in actual physical product, but I am not at a point where I can offer something like that. So at the time of making this video, it is currently only files that will be available on Colts 3D. I will have links below to find that. There are various different trucks that are in the RC Underdog fleet that have helped get this stand to a point where it's at right now. And I just wanted to show that off, the versatility and adjustability of this stand. So I will go ahead and cut the video off here. I hope everyone loves this stand. Happy building, and I will see everyone in the next video.